Hello, hello, hello. I think I'm live. I think I'm live. It is the most beautiful sunny day here in Melbourne today. It is a beautiful day to be alive. Someone has jumped on. Please say hello. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Hi, Tantip. Welcome, welcome. Can you hear me okay? If you can also please let me know. I'm pretty sure I'm in the right group. But Facebook have changed the live video dash. I'm pretty sure I'm in the Skyho Coaching Sanctum Expand Create Lead. It's lovely to see you here today, Tantip. I hope you're having a beautiful day and you are going to get some of this sunshine. You might even be sitting in the sunshine now. Hi, Nanine. Oh, Nanine's here. Hello. I'm excited to see your face pop up, Nan. Haven't seen you for a little while. Out of lockdown now in Sydney. Woohoo! Had your Freedom Day. That must be very, very exciting. We're not far behind here in Melbourne. We're not far behind at all. There's light. I can see some light at the end of the tunnel. Tantip's on a walk now. Gorgeous day, isn't it? It is beautiful today. Beautiful today. Freedom. Oh, I just love that for you. I just love that for you. And I'm going to love it for us too. It's very, very, very soon. All right, you know what? I'm going to begin our masterclass on Empowered. Thank you to those of you who have managed to jump in and be here with me live. It's always so much nicer to be talking to you directly. I know midday isn't a great time for those of you on the other side of the world. So if you are catching me on the replay, even if you're here in Australia, maybe you're at work right now, you're catching me on the replay later, that is absolutely perfect too. It's absolutely perfect. Whatever time it is for you, whenever it suits you to jump in and join me here, that's absolutely fine. You can still comment, you can still ask questions. Just tag me so that I receive a notification and know that someone wants to ask me a question or someone's got a comment, and I can jump in and help you out. Before we begin today, I want to give away a prize. I want to give away a copy of my book, Become Extraordinary. And we opened up the prize or the draw, the game, whatever you want to call it. Some other people jumping on. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Say hi when you jump in. I was just saying I'm about to give away, hi Danica, I'm about to give away a copy of my book, Become Extraordinary. The communication was if you refer someone into the group and they tell us that they were referred by you, so they have to let us know, that you would go into the draw. We didn't receive any referrals this time around, which is absolutely perfect. I trust everything is always the way it is supposed to be. But I still want to give away a book. I still want to give away a prize because it's fun for me and I love it. So what we decided to do was put everyone's name in a hat who has been active since this group has been relaunched. It was open a little while ago now, as in a couple of years ago now. We then closed it to focus on some other things in the business, and now we've reopened it again. We reopened it last month. And some of you have been coming back in and engaging a little, which we've absolutely loved. So what we decided to do was to thank you for coming back in and joining us. We've popped all your names into this bowl, and I'm going to draw someone else. So this is out of the people who have liked things or commented or joined us or have there's been some kind of engagement since we relaunched about a month ago. And the book is going to Nanine. And she's here. She's here today. So that is very, very kismet, isn't it, Nan? This book is on its way to you. I know that you moved right when we were speaking last time, which was a little while ago now. So Danica, Sky High team, will just private message her, or she'll private message you. And I just want to check that I've got your correct address. You're so welcome, and how fitting that you were here. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, so perfect. Things are always the way they're supposed to be. Okay, let's begin. Now, before we jump in, I was about to say, I held myself back because I was about to say I want to remind you, but for some of you, this might be the first time you've ever joined me in a masterclass. For some of you, this might be the first time you've ever seen me speak. So I'm not going to say I wish to remind you. I'm going to watch my words, take a moment and say, I invite you today to listen for insight and not agreement. You do not have to agree with everything I say. I am not attached to being right at all. These are my understandings. These are the things that have worked for me. These are the circumstances, the situations, the examples that I've seen unfold in my life and in my clients' lives, and sometimes friends and family. Listen for insight. What's coming up for me? What is being activated within me? What's sounding, she could actually be talking to me right now. She's just hit the nail on the head, all right? That piece is for you. It's for you to take and use. And then I might say something else and you might think, nah, that's not landing at all. That's fine. That's perfect. Don't take that piece. Maybe that is not what you were here to listen for, but you're here for a reason. Whether you're here, and this is another something else I invite you to become conscious of or focus of or to do. You're either here with me live or you're watching on the replay. Either way, you have made time to be here. You have carved time out in your life to jump on here live or watch back later, which is sometimes even a little bit more challenging. You may as well be present. You may as well be present. If you're here anyway, shut down all your other apps, shut down your tabs, maybe put your phone on silent. Be here, have a notepad, have a pen, take some notes, write down what's coming up for you as I go along, and you are going to benefit more from the time that you spend because you're here for you. You're not here for me. You're investing in yourself. You're here for you. So the more your mind will want to pull you out. It's a distraction machine. It's what it loves to do. But the more you can bring yourself back in, the more valuable this time is going to be for you. And I can just see that I'll just move my microphone away a little. So let's begin. What I've got to share with you today is some information that when I learned it in my adventure of my life, it changed a lot for me. This is going to be, this is, I consider, really powerful information, a really powerful message. If I didn't think it was, I wouldn't be sharing it. We're here today to talk about empowered, feeling empowered. And for those of us who live traditionally or in the past have been blessed to live in a world where we have had certain freedoms of choice, freedoms of decision, freedoms of movement, and we've been lucky enough to have those. The last 18 months has been particularly challenging to a certain level. Some people may not have found it challenging at all, some a little and some a whole lot, right? And a lot of it is this feeling of disempowered. All of a sudden, I don't have these freedoms of choice and decision making. What I'd love to do today is talk about how, and we have moments of feeling disempowered long before 2020. We've had those moments. And long after this is over, because everything ends, right? I invite you to take what you learned today, what you hear today with you, because this is going to happen again and again. And I've got a situation, I have the most perfect story, the most perfect example for you that happened for me, to me or for me, depending how you look at it, this morning. It's this beautiful sunny day in Melbourne. It's perfect. I've got a huge window here beside me. I cannot see a cloud. It's the most beautiful blue sky. It looks like this. There's a slight breeze. I can just see some leaves moving. And this morning it was a little cool. So it was that crisp, sunny morning. I love those mornings. And I have the most beautiful 20-month-old border collie. Black and white, very handsome. For a while we got worried. He thought his name was Handsome, because every time we took him somewhere, people stopped and told him how handsome he was. His name is Ziggy. And he's 20 months and he's a reactive dog and he's a working dog. So there's been a lot of training to help him focus on us, pay attention to us in a park or on an oval or in the street when there's a whole lot going on around him, because he's a reactive dog. He has been bred to chase things, to make things move. So it's been this very long and sometimes arduous process that's been going for quite a few months, but he's getting better and better and better. But he is a teenager right now, and that's what I have to keep in mind. So I put him on his leash. He's very excited. We wrap up his treats. He gets a walk in the morning, usually me, and usually my husband in the evening or the afternoon. Sometimes, of course, that changes. And I take him to an oval that's only about 5 minutes walk from here. And it's actually two ovals sort of side by side. One's a bit raised, one's elevated. We're very lucky. We live around a lot of parks and a lot of ovals. So I get to, he's very well behaved, and I'm feeling very empowered and thinking this is great. And we get to the oval, and on the bottom of, there's a top, we call it the top oval and the bottom oval. It's a beautiful day, this beautiful dog, long haired. He's a long haired border collie. So every now and then his hair, just flows in the breeze. And on the bottom oval, there's two little oodles, some kind of oodle. And they want to play with him, and he's so good. He plays with them, but he's listening to me, and he comes with me, and he doesn't go with them, but they want to stay with him, and their owner is trying to call them away, and they're being a little bit naughty, and again, I'm feeling more empowered. My dog's coming with me. Oh, that's okay. I'm not saying this out loud, of course, but in my head I'm all, that's okay. They're all naughty sometimes, I'm thinking to the other man. Oh, and then he's saying to me, sorry, because his dogs won't leave my dog, and I'm so gracious. That's okay. And I'm thinking, we've all been there, but I thought that might be a bit condescending. Don't say that. So I unclip him from his leash, and he trots along beside me, this perfect dog. And we do a lap of the oval, and he's paying attention to me, and he's doing everything I say, and we're playing some games. And then I take him up onto the top oval, and he follows me up the stairs, and we do some more games. And then we're coming back, and he sits when I ask him to sit, and we come over, we cross the little pathway to the bottom oval. And I see in the distance a little terrier with an older couple that looked retired age. And without that being too ageist, I hope that didn't come across as ageist. And they're throwing a ball out of a launcher. Before I can do anything, he's gone. Gone. I'm at the top of my voice. I'm putting out all the commands, calling. Nope. 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 I can't even hear you. Someone over there has a launcher with a ball and it's orange and it's exactly the same as my ball at home, and I'm bred to chase things and catch things. So off he goes and he starts playing with the other dog and its owners and the ball. And they're being very gracious. I said, is he okay? Because now they're continuing to throw the ball, and their little terrier's running after the ball and Ziggy's running after the ball. Yes, they're saying he's fine. He's fine. It's all fine. But I'm starting to feel a little less empowered, shall we say, because I know he can be very naughty when it comes to balls. So as I arrive, the gentlemen who were being very nice, the man and the lady being very nice, the gentleman throws the ball and this little terrier doesn't stand a chance. My dog's an athlete. My dog is bigger. My dog has longer legs. My dog is bred for speed and agility. Has to chase things and round them up. So he's flowing at half pace, majestically, hair flowing in the lovely breeze on the beautiful sunny day in the Oval in Melbourne. On the Oval, I should say. And the little terrier's going, not a chance. Ziggy gets to the ball and collects it in his mouth majestically and elegantly, and then proceeds to run away. Now I'm feeling even less empowered. And his favourite game is to run laps around the people who are wanting him to give them the ball. That's his favourite game. And I know it's a game, and he thinks it's a game, and he thinks it's fun, and I've decided he loves all the attention. So he's just lapping the three of us and the little terrier, who doesn't know what's going on. This dog has his ball. It's like, get my ball back. Poor little thing. And this went on, and you know what? It's probably only 2 or 3 minutes, but it feels like 30 to me. And I can feel those feelings coming up. Now I'm guilty. Guilt, shame, judgment. These people, are they judging me? I've got this naughty dog. It's not under my effective control, which is what you see on all the signs. You can take dogs allowed off leash must be under effective control all the time. It's not under effective control. It's not at mine anyway. I'm starting to blame him. Why can't you just be a good dog? And I'm starting, but it was the shame and embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. And I actually said, Ziggy, you're embarrassing me now. And this couple were really nice and gracious about it at the start. Well, they never stopped being nice about it. They were but you could tell they were beginning to get annoyed. And their dog wasn't getting its ball back, and it didn't know what to do. I was feeding it treats with their permission. And I was feeling this big. I was completely knocked out of my power. Okay? By something external to me. Ziggy is external to me. He's not attached to me. He's not part of me. and I'm feeling very out of control. Eventually, the woman thought he wouldn't come for his treats that I had, which is he won't because he knows I'll clip him on. Shook. She had treats in a tin and she shook the tin and called him, and that he was either done with his game or he was very intrigued about what was in this tin, and he dropped the ball and ran to the tin. We were able to grab the ball, and I grabbed him and clipped him on and brought him home. And I got halfway home and I thought, wow, because I was still in guilt and my energy levels had dropped. My energy had dropped. I wasn't feeling good about myself. I'd gone into a little bit of self, shame and blame. What have we been doing wrong? I shouldn't have let him off leash. I should have watched him some more. And I started to feel, and I caught myself. I thought, my gosh, I'm morphing into I'm a bad person. I'm not a bad person. And then I realized that I was losing my personal power. And I caught it. I wasn't even home. It's 5 minutes, 10 minutes to this oval. I wasn't even home and I caught it and was able to release it. I understand why I'm feeling this way, but this isn't worth losing all my personal power over. Now, you might be thinking, don't really know what this has got to do with empowerment. It was a dog at an oval and that was a really tiny example. That's the point I want to make. It's the tiniest things in life that have the ability to knock us out of our power. The tiniest things in life. I had boot camp. I had an online boot camp earlier than that this morning. Think about if you're logging onto an online Zoom boot camp and your laptop, your Wi-Fi drops out, let's say. You can't get on. And you start to feel that frustration. These are the tiny little things that can happen throughout our day that drain us of our personal power, kick us out of personal power. That could have spiraled. If I hadn't have caught that, if I didn't have the tools available that I have, if I hadn't done the inner work that I've done over the years, if I wasn't aware of what I'm about to share with you, right? That could have spiraled across my entire day. And we've had those days too. This happened, then this happened. I just had a really bad day. I couldn't catch a break today. We can bring that back. So let's talk about control. I just want to touch on control. I lost control of something external to me, which was an animal. Okay, and that was that was the main part of me losing personal power, how I felt about myself, my energy levels. The definition of empowerment, at no point in the definition of empowerment does it say to have control of your external circumstances, to have control of what's externally going on around you, to have control of what other people are doing, saying, being. The definition of empowerment is feeling in control of your own life. To me, that's internal. And I'm going to talk about fear a little bit more later in the masterclass. There is a spectrum, I think, of empowerment. In one end of the spectrum is victim status or disempowerment, and that's where I was spiraling, Because victim status and disempowerment is, this is happening to me. I'm feeling guilty. I'm either pointing my finger outwards and blaming others, or I've pointed the finger inwards and I've gone into shame. The other end of the spectrum of empowerment is radical responsibility. This is happening for me, not to me. What do I do now? This has happened, so what do I do now? Where do I go from here? What's within my power right now? What's within I can't control what's going on outside of me, but what can I control? What can I control right now? What can I do? And throughout our day, our week, our lives, we're sitting somewhere along that spectrum. Now, feel free to comment, feel free to ask questions as we go along. If you want me to expand on something, let me know, and I'm very happy to do that for you. So I was quickly, and if we let ourselves fall all the way into victim mode, this is where we feel truly disempowered, and this is where we can spiral for the rest of our day, right? We spiral from here. If we can catch whatever's happened, remember our 2 levels of power, we can start to move ourselves across the spectrum back up to radical responsibility and empowerment, true empowerment. So let's talk about these 2 levels of power. So my understanding, or what I've come to experience, is there's 2 levels of power. One is situational power. So what is situational power? And the other is personal power. Situational power is when we create a situation, we either create a situation or we put ourselves in a situation that helps us feel more empowered. I'll give you some examples. So think about situations you create to help yourself feel more empowered. That could be, so for me, I'll give you mine. If I meditate every day, I put myself in the situation to meditate, I feel more empowered. If I put myself in the situation to journal, I feel more empowered. If Tantip's told us she's out on a walk right now in the sunshine, that Tantip may be something that helps you feel more empowered. Some people like surrounding themselves with crystals. That helps them feel more empowered. That's a situation. Some people like writing affirmations, and they feel amazing after they've written something out they want to create or something they want to believe, and they've written it out 20 times, and they get up from their seat and they feel like their world's shifted and they can take on the world. Other people love doing yoga. That helps them feel more empowered. Other people like boot camp. Other people, you're here right now. Let's use this as an example. You are watching this masterclass right now. You have put yourself in a situation. I'm going to enter this situation because I've heard Janelle Ryan has some really good stuff and it'll help me feel more empowered. Or I know Janelle Ryan has some really good stuff and I'll feel more empowered afterwards. Or I'll at least know how to feel more empowered afterwards. This is situational power. And we do this in lots of different areas of our lives. We have a job. We go and we, Tantip, thank you. Yes, this sunshine is helping me feel more empowered, right? That's not coming from you. You're not the sun, right? But putting yourself in that situation is feeding into how empowered you feel, how good you feel, how powerful you feel, how strong you feel, how mentally clear you feel, how healthy you feel, right? How energized you feel. you've put yourself in that situation. We do it in our workplaces. We put ourselves, we find ourselves in a job, or we see a job advertised, we think that feels amazing, or that sounds amazing, and we go for the interview and we get the job, and sometimes it's a little bit challenging at the start, finding, learning who's who in the zoo and learning some new task and a new role, and maybe you're learning leadership for the first time. But then we feel really empowered in that role. We find our feet, we find our footing, we feel like we belong, and we feel really empowered. And we can do this in our relationships too, in our friendships, in our intimate relationships. We choose our friends, we choose our partners usually because of the way they make us feel. Okay, I know my husband, handsome hubby, being with him, definitely this situation, my marriage is a situation I have consciously put myself in because he lights me up and I feel energized with him. And he does help me feel like I can take on the world, and he believes in so much, it helps increase my belief in myself. So we put ourselves in these situations. But what happens when the situation changes? I was feeling really empowered at the Oval this morning until the situation changed. Remember, empowerment is not I have control over my external circumstances. It isn't what it is. Someone does something we didn't expect. Someone didn't do something we expected. I've been made redundant. We're called into our boss, and it was a job I loved. In my early 20s, I loved my boss, and she called me into her office and started crying and said, "We have to let you go. We're downsizing." And I was, last in. It was that whole last in, first out situation. Our partners, we have breakups in our intimate relationships. Friendships change. We have friends that decide we're not going in a direction that they want to go in, and they exit stage left. That's painful too. The situation changes, and that has the power to affect us. That can rob us of our power of feeling empowered. But that's life. We can't control what other people do, other decisions that are made. And it could also be something you've created for yourself. So I know when I wake up in the morning, when I get out of bed, as I'm getting out of bed, I'm in a mode of gratitude. As I wake up and getting out of bed, I'm grateful for my body. I'm grateful for the day. I'm grateful for being alive. I'm grateful that I've woken up next to this man I'm in love with. I'm grateful that I love my work. I'm so grateful. And then I do some, this morning I did boot camp. Let's take this morning, for example. And then I love taking we had a bit of a situation this morning, but I love taking my dog for walks in the morning. And today was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful day to go for a walk with him. All these, but what about when Australia opens up again and I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to get on a plane for business, a 7 a.m. flight for business, or I'm getting up and going into an organization to give a presentation or run a workshop, and I cannot do those things. I can't do boot camp. I can't then go out for an hour with my dog and then sit down and have beautiful breakfast. I've got it. Maybe that day I have to hit the ground running. Those little rituals that have set me up for the day, that help me feel empowered, I'm unable to do. So I hope this is making sense. So it could be you just can't do your ritual that day for some reason. You've got other commitments, or something external to you has changed without you even anticipating it. The rugs, people call it the rug being pulled out from under you. What do we do then? How do we stop ourselves from sliding straight back down from radical responsibility to victim status and disempowerment and blame and shame and guilt and frustration and annoyed and irritated and disempowered? We tap into the second type of power, which is personal power. We do our best to set ourselves up in situational power. I can't tell you what your situational power is. You know what that is. I love meditating. You might not be able to settle your mind, but a 5K run puts you in a meditative state. You might love surrounding yourself with crystals. Someone else might think, didn't do anything for me, I tried it. What's the thing with the crystals? So, yes, think about what situations you can create for yourself to help you feel empowered. I just want to veer off into our work environment for a moment. Actually, will I? No, I'll do that in a minute. I'll come back to that. Someone remind me if I don't. I was going to make a point, but I think it's better in the next part. So situational power can be really positive. Really, really positive. However, we need to be prepared for what happens if that situational power is taken away, if the situation changes. And what we do, our backup battery is our personal power. Is your backup battery fully charged? And again, only you know what charges up your personal power battery. And we just touched on some of them. They're linked. I'll give you another example of how this works. And we were talking about this in one of my groups the other night. When we are wanting to focus on, there's a couple of clients in one of my groups focusing on nutrition and health. And we were talking about that situation when you're really good and you're sticking to your nutrition plan and you're being very healthy, but the other person in your household is not. And how easy it is to just forget what you're doing, and because it's easier, just go with them. I'll give you an example. So imagine that I am actually doing 5-2 at the moment, intermittent fasting. And imagine if on my 2-day, my 500 calorie day, that I had the whole day planned out. I'd bought all the food, all the calories were counted. I knew exactly what time I was eating and when. And I'd go into the kitchen to cook dinner. And I know exactly what I'm having. I know exactly what time. I've set this up the day before because I had to go to the supermarket, buy everything. And I walk in and handsome hubby is on his phone and says, I'm ordering, I feel like fish and chips. I'm ordering fish and chips. Would you like some? Have you been there before? Right, now I'm in a moment. I'm in a moment. I had all this situational power. I made the plan created a situation. I made a plan, the menu plan. I then went to the supermarket. I bought everything I needed, brought it back, put it in the fridge, sat down the day before, worked out all the calories, decided the next day what time I was going to eat. I've created a foolproof, some would say, situation. I'm empowered. How can I not be empowered? I've got all this situational power. The situation's perfect for me to have my 2 intermittent fasting day. And then my husband says, I'm ordering fish and chips. Do you want some? I love fish and chips. And it's really easy to say, you know what? Okay then. And that's what I would do if my personal power battery was flat. Because the situation has changed. I thought he was eating the same dinner as I was. I was cooking dinner. I was just throwing a few more stuff on his plate. I was prepared for that. That was part of the situation. But now the situation's changed. What am I going to do? Am I going to allow it to drain me of power? Or am I going to tap into my personal power battery? So I have this one moment. Okay, this one moment. It'd be so easy. It'd be so easy to have fish and chips. I could do this tomorrow. It would be so easy. But no. You would be, it's the whole day and you set up the situation. But he's having fish and chips and I'll be able to smell them and I really like them. No. Wait. How's my battery, my personal power battery? Is it flat or is it full? It's flat. It's flat. I've flicked over the valve. There's nothing in there. I'll have fish and chips, thanks. Second scenario. I've flipped over the valve. It's full. Tap into that power then, baby. No, thank you. I will not be having fish and chips tonight. I am sticking to my plan. Those are some, that's a small but real situation. And situational power plus personal power, because together, dynamic duo, you can take this with you everywhere. To a end of a relationship, to a lost job, okay, this has happened. All I have to think about is what is my very first step from here. I've ramped up my battery. I've checked my valve. Battery's full. Okay. Staying in my power. My battery's full. Don't need this situational power. Got my battery. What's my very first step from here? What do I do now? I was asked by a client the other day, we were talking about this, we're having this conversation, and she asked me, wouldn't you just want what if I just never created a situation, I just used my personal power all the time? Exhaustion and burnout. Exhaustion and burnout. Exhaustion, if it was down to your personal power all the time. We want to create these beautiful situations, these beautiful rituals, these beautiful routines, these people we surround ourselves with. Expansion, creation, leadership. That's my tagline. Always expanding my mind, always creating something gorgeous and beautiful and valuable. And then leading, being the leader, the inspirator. Inspirator? I think it's inspirer. The person who inspires. Then, if that changes, or if something doesn't unfold the way you hoped or you wanted or you dreamed, you've got your personal power battery backup. You move through it. Okay, what do I do from here? The situation changed. That's okay. Battery's full. What do I do from here? What do I do now? What's my very first step? What's within my power? No blame, no shame, no guilt, no frustration, no irritation, no pointing the finger outwards, no pointing the finger inwards. Just, okay, I've got this. I've got this. What's the step? Has anyone got any questions around that? I promised today that I'd chat to you about fear. Because fear is something that knocks us out, that I think has the ability to knock us out of personal power, or even situational power. So I'll give you an example. This is what the example I was going to give you before. Maybe you're in a role or you're in a job that does not fulfill you, does not empower you. I have a very strong, I've had it for a long time, long before I was a coach, long before I started Sky High Coaching. I always had a very strong belief that if I was in a job or a role and it was robbing me of confidence or skills, it was time to leave. No matter how comfortable I felt there or how frightening it was to move on, I considered it going backwards. If I was losing confidence or skill sets, in other words, my skills and my strengths weren't being utilized to their capacity, or I wasn't growing or expanding or creating new skills, then it was time to go. Sometimes when we think about, and sometimes it may not even be that you feel like you're going backwards. Sometimes it might just be that you've outgrown the role and you want to go forward. And this, we can align this with lots of other areas of our lives. I know I want to be fitter and healthier. I'm just not moving forward. I know I could be in a job that is more fulfilling and challenging, maybe even more money, more growth, but I'm just not moving forward. I know I'm staying really small in my business right now. I really want to expand. I want to be more impactful in the world, but I'm just not moving forward. Could be moving house. I know I'm ready to move homes. I'm just not moving forward. What's going on? So this is why am I feeling disempowered here? My head, everything is telling me this is what I want. This is what I desire. Why aren't I just moving forward, right? Big question. This, and people who work with me, this is a really common question. And sometimes I have to sit down and ask this of myself too. I really want this thing. I really want to experience this thing. It could be traveling to a new country. I really want to have this experience of this type of home, or visiting this country, or having this type of role, or my business looking like this, or my health being, feeling so much better. I really want it and I really desire it. Why aren't I just moving forward? I feel so, and we start to feel disempowered. And we can start to slide back down our spectrum and start to blame others or blame circumstances or ourselves, or fall into that shame pattern. I should be able to do this. Why can't I just do this? I should be able to do this. And then that's when we're starting to turn the finger towards ourselves, and shame can come up, and we don't want that either, because that's also disempowering, as we know. So often the thing that is stopping us from moving forward is fear. Good, old-fashioned, been around forever, primitive, will probably never go away. Fear. It is part of us. It is part of you. It's always going to be around, and we can celebrate it, because if you are feeling fearful, it tells me you're expanding. That makes sense, right? If you are feeling fear, that's growth, that's expansion, that's transformation, because you must be moving into something bigger, brighter than ever before, or completely different. And our brain, the part of us the part of us that doesn't like feeling, doesn't love the unknown, right? Because we don't know what's in there. So it could be unsafe. It could be something bad. Will try and stop us from moving in there. So what happens when this fear arises? Tony Robbins calls, he has the acronym for fear you've probably heard before: false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. Okay. Most of the time, if you're lucky enough to live in a country, in an environment, in a home, in a world where you are not very often in true danger, then yes, your fear is most likely false evidence appearing real. Okay, so that's that side. That's where fear isn't really helping us, it's hindering us. When fear is helping us is when it's alerting us to something that could be truly unsafe or could go wrong. There are people in the world who need their fear activation on, because they have potential to be in unsafe situations, truly unsafe situations. If you have been in your life truly in a truly an unsafe situation, you will know the difference. You will know the difference between danger, 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 get out, leave, move, run, you are unsafe, and don't change jobs because you might not like your new job. Don't leave this unfulfilling relationship, even though it doesn't feel great, because then you'll be single. Apparently that's something to be afraid of for some people. Was for me. I remember that feeling once upon a time. There's a difference. Now, obviously, if the fear signal is stopping you from walking down a dark alley at night, or running in front of a moving car, or swimming in croc-infested waters, then this is where it's being used for good. We don't want to lose our capacity to feel fear. we don't want to lose that signal, that signpost, that indicator that we might be in danger for obvious reasons. You're a smart person. I don't need to go into that with you. Let's look at fear when it's hindering us, because there is a crossover. Sometimes the fear of stepping into a new situation can also be a true danger signal. If you're thinking about, I'll give you an example. There's something my husband and I have been discussing about doing for our future. And we had a discussion about it about 2 weeks ago. And after the discussion, we both went away to think about it and process it. And when we came back together for our part 2 discussion, I said to him, I feel fear around this. And what I did was I wrote all my fears down. So I'd written, I thought, right, there is something, it's logically this makes sense. Logically, there's no true danger. So what's the fear? So I sat down and I wrote all my fears down. And then my husband and I went through them one by one. First fear, is that likely to happen? Well, no, it's just a bit of a fear. Well, if it did, could we handle it? Yeah. Can you hold that fear? As we step in, can you hold that fear? Can you feel it in your body and know that everything's going, even if it happened, we'd be okay? Yep, I can hold it. We went through everything one by one. And we managed to go through some. He said, are you going to be able to hold this? And I said, oh, look, now that we've talked about it, it's gone. It's not even in my body anymore. I don't even feel it. We want to turn and face the fears. And the easiest way I find to do that, and clients and I do it through conversation. When I'm doing it for myself, by myself, which you might be, I like to write it down, to list it. What are the things that I'm afraid of? And if I do get to one that I think, if that happened, we'd lose our home. Or if that happened, I might lose my marriage. Or if that happened, that it would have to be dire. So would the house thing. But do you know what I mean? I'm trying to give worst case scenarios here. If that happened, we'd lose everything. We'd lose everything. Well, this is where fear is coming in as a positive or a helpful, there's the word I'm looking for, signal, a helpful signpost. So I've gone through all my fears and I've managed to say, yes, that's not really going to happen. I've just released it from my body. I know it was just a silly fear. And we've looked at the ones where we've thought, okay, that could happen. And if it did, we'd have to do this. There'd be some changes to be made or some tweaks to be made, or but would I be okay, and would we be okay? Yes, we would. Can I carry that? Yes, I can. Yep, I can carry that and feel that I can hold it. That's fine. I still want to move forward. And then I might get to one which is, if that happened, the consequences are big. And can I hold that in my body? Can I move forward with this fear? I can't. So that means I'm not ready to move forward in that direction because I'm too afraid. And we want to be, and I'm going to move in that direction without ease, without grace, without trust, without faith, without fun, without lightness, without joy. I'm going to enter that situation utterly terrified and fearful and afraid and tense. And I'm probably going to try and predict everything that can go wrong the whole time and be looking for things to go wrong so I can catch them before they happen. And I don't want to live my life that way. I want to have fun in my life and I want there to be ease and joy. However, I also know that for me to expand more, grow more, create more, be a stronger leader or a more inspirational leader, I know that there's going to be some fear. But it's fear that I'm willing to step into. I didn't say comfortable to step into. I said I'm willing to step into. And I'll hold it until I realize everything's okay. And it'll go. And I know that you have had multiple moments in your life where you've made a choice to do something with a little bit of a quantum quiver, with a little bit of a butterfly-y tummy, with a little bit of fear. But you've decided that uncomfortable feeling is not unsafe, it's just discomfort. And you're willing to feel that discomfort because what's at the other end of it is something you desire. I'm going to round this out now. Please let me know if you're here live or even watching back on the replay, if there's comments or questions. There is a spectrum of empowerment. On one end of the spectrum is victim status. On the other end of the spectrum is radical responsibility. And there's all these little places, notches, dips in between. When we feel disempowered, we feel shame, blame, guilt. We point the finger outwards. Things are not our fault. We blame external circumstances. We blame other people. Or we turn the finger towards ourselves and spiral into shame. The other end of the spectrum is radical responsibility. I am empowered. I am responsible for myself, my life, my choices, my decisions. I know that I'm not in control of my external circumstances all the time. I also know that I'm resilient, and I also know that the word just fell out of my head. Serves, it's back, thank you. That it serves me to set up my situational power to the best of my ability. Rituals, routines, people, places, events that fill me with energy, that fill me with light, that help me expand and create and lead in and move towards my desires, feeling truly empowered. I don't worry so much about external circumstances, external events, because I know if they change that I've got this, I'm resilient enough. And I know that I've got a fully charged backup battery, which is my personal power. And I know I'll be able to feel the feelings, because it doesn't mean there won't be feelings of shock or surprise or disappointment or confusion or frustration. All those feelings where people around the world are experiencing right now, those feelings are valid and human. I know I'm going to have those feelings, and I know they're feelings that I'm supposed to have. I'm a human being, and I know how to move through them. If you don't know how to move through them, then that's some work you may want to do. I'll move through them, and then I'll switch over the valve into my personal power, and I'll ask myself, what now? Where do I go from here? It's always our very first step, remember? What's my very first step from here? From here, the situation I'm in now. And but on the flip side, if I want to change my situation because of a dream or a desire or a want, and I feel like I cannot move in that direction, I feel disempowered for some reason, I realize it's probably fear. And I can sit down and work out, am I unsafe? Is this true danger if I move in this area? Well, if it is, thank you, fear. I will not walk down that dark alley or sell my house and put all my money in that sounds too good to be true investment. Whatever example works for you. So it's discomfort. So I'll write all the things down that I fear, and then I'll go through them one by one. Are they true? Is it a true fear? Is it just in my head? Will it really happen? Is it something I need to do some work on or work around? Well, I have this fear that if I do that, someone won't like me. Well, maybe you need to do some work around that. Or I have some fear, if I do this, I may not be good enough. I'll be a fraud or an imposter. Well, you may want to do some work around that. Or, you know what, this does feel uncomfortable and a little bit frightening, and I've got butterflies and it's a bit of a quantum quiver, but I can handle that. I can hold it and I can move forward anyway. Empowerment is not about being able to control external circumstances. It's not about being able to control other people. It's not being able to control the weather. It's not being able to control what people are thinking. Empowerment is feeling in control of you and your life. And that's usually pretty much an inner game. I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely I trust that you received what you needed, that something jumped out at you, because I believe that's why you're here. We're going to be doing another free masterclass in here in a couple of weeks. I'm really excited about it. It's brand new, never done it before. I'm not ready to tell you yet what it is, but it is something that I've been working on personally since, well, when you think about it, you've usually been working on something your whole life, but really focused on it since about 2017. And I'm finally ready. I've worked on it. I've seen the changes in my life. I've seen the changes in my clients' lives. I've seen the power this information will have, and I'm ready to share. Oh, you're so welcome, Tan Tip. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Have a beautiful day, no matter when you're watching this or where you are in the world. Thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the Expand, Create, Lead group. And Nan will get your book out to you. And we will see you next time. You're so welcome, Nan. So good to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in ages. Enjoy your freedom. I'm feeling more empowered after watching this. Yes, yes, beautiful, beautiful. Love you, Tuntip. Thank you. Thank you all. I'll see you next time. Bye.